ready?
Yeah!
Well, you already know what it is. It's the Billy Bobby Hour.
Billy Bobby.
Billy Bobby.
Wait, so where are we with that soundboard, Evan? Or are you just gonna have a soundboard with all these buttons? It's like Billy, Bobby, Billy, Bobby.
Hey, look, everybody,
You know what I mean?
Billy Pete.
It's
Yeah.
those buttons blinking behind him. You can't see it right now.
Everybody my
On the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
He'd be flipping
Yeah.
switches.
Evan, when you walk out of the room, it looks like you're walking to the front of the cockpit.
Yeah, like can you just
Wait,
go
do
ahead
some
and
effects.
answer?
Do
Can
it
you
do
go
it real
ahead
quick.
and go? Yeah,
Just
like
Okay.
just walk to
All
the
right.
door and back, and then press some buttons while you're at the door.
come back.
Oh, he disappeared. Doot, 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 doot.
No, but he literally, like, when he went to go answer the phone, like, he literally just got right up and ran, and it just looked like he disappeared into nothing. It was pretty cool. I liked it. Do it again.
Before he was just kind of like hanging around too, like pacing
Yeah, he
in
was
front, like the John Travolta in Pulp Fiction with the coat. It's like, oh yeah, I'm on the Millennium Falcon. All right.
I thought it was kind of C-3PO-esque. He was like, "Oh, I know all of the languages."
All of them.
I hated
Naturally.
C-3PO until the last
Yeah.
movie, and I hated the last movie, but maybe that's one of the reasons. Is like I thought C-3PO finally had some decent lines.
I'm kind of glad the whole Star Wars thing's over.
It's
I mean,
over?
Oh, it's just
Yeah.
begun.
Oh,
No, yeah, like
Over?
the story's
The Skywalker
concluded.
saga.
Yeah, the Skywalkers. That's like Star Wars, though. I mean, anything else is
Until
not
the
going to
next
come.
9 movies come out.
It's a whole
Right.
universe, man.
But they're not going to be. They're not going to be near the level of the first 3. And then for some reason, like, all right, so like the first 3, meaning episodes 4, 5, and 6, were the best storyline, right? I think episodes 1, 2, and 3 had the best lightsaber fight sequences, especially with like the Darth Maul thing in episode
yeah,
1.
for sure.
That was dope.
For
That
sure.
whole
But the
scene,
story was trash.
And
the story-
Revenge of the
Trash.
Sith.
Yeah, the
I
story-
knew that when I was like 12 years old.
Prequel.
and the acting was like meh, you know.
Obi-Wan was pretty good, but it was cheesy acting. It was Star Wars acting. I feel like George Lucas was like, all right, try to get what we did here again. Like, you can't be too good. Because that's not how this works. Like,
Nah,
We're
I
supposed to
don't
be
think they
right
tried
in the
very
middle.
hard.
yeah, it's supposed to be over the top, dramatic, even
But-
though it's not.
Like the last 3, I don't really know how, like, because the acting, I think the acting was better than the other stuff, and the special effects were better. The storyline suffered because it kind of just seemed like cashed in, and
I feel like they
You
were
know,
fanboying themselves.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It's a 3-hour
Self-indulgent.
movie, and every 2 minutes they're throwing it back to something, but changing it a little bit, and it was just like rolling plot twists, plot twist, plot twist, plot twist.
I cried.
Chewie's
Yeah.
kidnapped. Chewie's back. Chewie's dead. Chewie's alive. And it's like, god damn, just like
Yeah.
it made me like so sick of it that like I didn't even like the twist at the end because they are twisting me out.
It's over twisted.
What the twist?
Wait, what's that guy? M. Night Shyamalan? Too much M. Night. Too much.
Yeah.
Shamalama ding dong.
I cried
Yeah.
at the end of that movie, and not
Which-
because it
The,
Which
the
was
very last one? The very, very
the
last one?
very last one. And not Jill can tell you that I cried.
Because your eyes were so like tired of just watching all of these explosions.
No, because I was so sad that like a huge chunk of like my childhood and my like as a kid, like all the Star Wars games I played, all the times I pretended I was a Jedi with the freaking lightsabers and all this stuff, and you think about like, okay, like what's the backstory and what's happening later? Like you think Luke went on to be like badass, and like thinking about when the next movies would come out, and they bring the whole thing to a close after almost 30 years for me, and the closing is horrible. It's the worst.
That's why you cried? Because it
possible.
was so
Yes.
bad?
It was so bad, and I was so sad that part of my childhood was over, and that it was ending that way. I felt like I had no real like satisfaction or resolution. Like if I wish I was crying out of like happiness, but it was sadness. Like it would have been so much better to close that book and have been like, like I'm happy. I'm okay with that. And none of the last 3 movies I could sit there and be like, yeah, this makes sense. I loved the prequels, how they explained everything. It all was awesome. Like basically saying that Darth Vader was supposed to be Force Jesus, like born of nothing to a virgin mother. That's what Anakin was basically Jesus. He was made from the midi-chlorians. No dad.
Not quite. Jesus was a little more forgiving and patient and kind.
He was nice to the children. He was nice to the younglings.
That's what he was supposed to be. He was the prophecy, like the guy who brings balance to everything. And then it was like, but again, like Jesus also didn't become the devil, so it doesn't really work. But you know what I mean. Like he was supposed to be the conceptual Jesus.
I love how the background went to warp speed when you got really emotional. It kind of
I wish I could hit a button for that. That would be pretty cool.
I'm glad your story kind of went that way, Billy. Because if you're going to be like all like sentimental about it, I was just going to be like, grow up. God damn it, it's a movie.
No. I would have cried and I would have been like, this is nice. This is good. This feels great. But I was crying and Joe was like, why are you crying? I was like, because it's just so bad.
So awful.
I was genuinely crying.
Wow.
Like imagine the Lord of the Rings movies and they put out sequels and you're like, yo, let's fuck. Or yes, he was like, yo, let's go. And it's like the worst thing ever. Ever. None of it makes any sense at all. And it denotes everything from like beforehand. And nothing goes.
Did you see the Hobbit movies?
Yeah, did you like the Hobbit?
I never read the books, so I can't base it off of that. And I did kind of like the Hobbit because they kept the same kind of feel there. And you had it just felt good. Like Legolas was still Legolas when he was in that. Was he in the third one?
Except he wasn't in. But, all right, well.
No, he wasn't in the Hobbit. I know.
Legolas was in the Hobbit.
He was in the book. Really?
I have no clue. I didn't read the books. I barely know how to read.
I read the book and I didn't like the movie because it was 3 movies and it was just one book. It wasn't even a long book at that. I think they could have made a better movie. Just kind of like
But they're too good at making trilogies. Why would they give up on that? Like this is where we make the money, boy.
Everything goes in 3s.
It's true. There was like a whole. There was like a whole like fad of like making movies in like 3s, right?
Yeah. Well, I think there's definitely something. I think there's something to that, like in marketing. Like I'm not a marketing expert. I'm not a filmmaker, yet at least, but. Like, there's definitely something, like, because you make a movie, to me, it seems like you make one movie, if it's successful, and we can make more money making more, then you're automatically signing up for 2 more, right? Because you're not going to make a second one, and then it kind of, like, leads into... Notice how the second and the third ones are like closely like more related to each other than the first one. The first one could almost be, think about any trilogy. It could almost be like a standalone thing. And then you have, and not every trilogy, like Indiana Jones, I thought was like a good trilogy. And if you tell me that it's not a trilogy and say, well, there's a 4th one, then
I was going to say, they kept trying to make them and
You're right, Julian. It's like a pilot. Like a pilot movie. Like, we're going to test this.
Like, I immediately think of...
they excel.
Yeah, I immediately think of, as a kid, and these weren't great, but the first one, I loved the first Spider-Man when I was younger with Tobey Maguire. As bad as it, like...
Great movie.
He was or whatever. I loved that movie, like, watching it. And so, and as a kid, it's strictly for, like, entertaining reasons or whatever. It's like, okay... But then you make the second one. You're gonna have to make a third one, and those 2 are more closely related. Like you think about Pirates of the Caribbean, and obviously they made more, which I think is just a money grab.
Yeah, they made like 12.
Right, exactly. But the second and third ones are just so they're like I get confused between them because they're almost like the same movie. It's like those two could have been part 1, part 2 of each other. And it's like I think there's something that happens in the in the writing room or just when you're thinking about how to make the money off of the movie. It's like
definitely.
Right, how do we milk it? And it's three seems to be a good number.
Terminator, Jurassic Park, Austin Powers, all of the great series.
Yeah. See now here's I think the difference
the
though
Matrix
is, but even the Matrix, like you take any trilogy and you have to ask like which one's your favorite, and then for me all the ones that where the first one is everyone's favorite to me is just like, well, they were probably better off just not making 2 and 3. I don't know. Like, is there a trilogy where you think they wouldn't have been better off see Austin Powers, for example. I think all 3 of those movies are fantastic, right? Like it doesn't normally it's like, oh, the first one and then it goes down and then it's like, oh, it goes down again or something like that. But no, all 3 of those were great.
High level.
But I think of like something that you mentioned.
The second one was trash.
Austin Powers
with Heather Graham?
Yeah, it was awful.
It was awful.
I can't believe my ears.
I watched the second one on a date with this girl, and she did not talk to me afterwards.
Yeah, well, that's a personal problem, dude.
Yeah, that doesn't reflect on the movie.
Yeah, that's a poor argument for your.
What?
Just
so
because.
How did it work out with you and that girl?
Not good.
Yeah. that's like one of the first
taking it out.
If you're compatible, is like, all right, we're gonna watch Big Daddy and Austin Powers and Ace Ventura and see if you can
Wayne's World. Yeah.
Well, all right. In her defense, she had never seen Austin Powers before, and I was like, no, any one of the Austin Powers movies are great.
Oh.
So I put on the second one, and she's like, I have no clue what's going on. This isn't funny. And I'm like, everything's kind of just
what? Was she high?
No, that's probably part of the problem. But a lot of those jokes are like they reference the movie beforehand, and it's just like I don't know. There's some stuff in there that's just not like it doesn't age as well as the first one does. You know.
Yeah, I still think you're a little.
I think you're biased. I think you're biased. You're biased.
I think you're biased,
so
dude. Dude, I think you're biased. I think there's a reason. I recently watched the first 2 again, and I totally agree. Like the second one is just like if the other one came first, if 2 came first and 1 came second, I would say the same thing. They've just taken the same jokes. And they've kind of like done it again.
Recycled.
And in the third one, in the third one they do it again. I do think they do it a little differently in the third one, but
third one's pretty good. Goldmember's good.
Yeah, Goldmember is
really
actually
good.
like good as a standalone. I think all 3 of them are good as standalones. But
that's where your bias starts, though.
What's the name of the second one?
The Spy Who Shagged Me.
And what's the first one?
International Man of Mystery.
Okay.
Jinx.
I mean, Mike Myers is fantastic. He's hilarious, and he's in a whole bunch of other things that are also great. But I just like it. Just wasn't the jokes weren't landing with her, and
yeah, but
right
dude, you're basing it completely off of her experience, not your experience.
Well, it was a bad experience for him because it was a bad experience for her.
And she's like not introduced to it, like because like you were introduced to Austin Powers at a really early age. Well, I don't want to say really early, but you were young when we were all young when they came out.
Classic,
right? Yeah. And they kind of like grew with you. Same thing with Ace Ventura. If we were this age and we saw Ace Ventura right now, we would be like, this is a dumb kids movie. Right, but because we have
I'm still waiting for the third of that trilogy.
For sure.
But because
they've just
because
been
we're
teasing
waiting,
us for 20 years.
You know, I mean, maybe Jim Carrey would. I doubt he would now in his like existentialism kind of like mindset. What is Jim Carrey even a human anymore, or has he transcended to a light
Might
being?
Be an alien.
Has he ever been?
I think
have any of us been? What are we? What is light?
I will say, no matter how he gets, I'll still listen to him. Like, he is, and that I will admit, like, I'm probably a little biased of that. That is someone I grew up with. And so he can be crazy and talking in a straight jacket, and they have him locked away. I'll still listen to what he has to say because I just love that man.
Do you know that he, when he was doing the Grinch, his Grinch face was not makeup? Like, he was making that face.
Yeah.
The whole time. People thought it was makeup. Yeah, that like that. Like, I can't even do it right. He's like,
yeah, that's all him, man.
Yeah, he was doing that the whole time.
That's good.
Oh man, that guy's crazy. Like, crazy awesome.
I'm showing up to the cast next week in that Grinch makeup. With 4 lines across my head.
Yeah. Double dog dare you.
Imagine I just go out and spend like
$400 on like top line
ridiculous.
makeup.
I haven't had unemployment yet once, but let me go out and max out my credit card on this Grinch outfit, for that one time use.
For that one haha. Yo, I got a couple of questions, but
I got answers.
I got a couple of answers.
I got a couple of answers for you.
First off, did anyone watch the SpaceX launch?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I couldn't.
I didn't see it either. I saw the memes of Elon looking at his baby being sent into space.
Hilarious. It's more exciting in like what it is than actually seeing it happen. Like, because I was then waiting. It was like a 20-hour trip, and then they dock with the International Space Station, and I was like, ooh, let me like watch them open the hatch and see them like come into the space station. I'm like watching this feed for like 15 minutes, staring at the door, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? It's not that amazing. I was like, oh look, a guy came through a door. But like the idea behind it is
right.
remarkable.
The bigger picture.
Yeah.
But it is that amazing though. Like there was a time when people thought, like not too long ago, there was a time that people thought we were never going to go into space again. There was a time slightly before that where people thought it was impossible.
Most people are idiots.
Well, no, I mean, like, that's just the development of technology, right? I mean, all of this has happened in an incredibly short amount of time, and the privatization of spaceflight is starting to emerge, right? And all of this was done previously through governments, right? Like, it was the United States versus Russia, right? And now this is like a United States company versus the world, right? And well, or whatever the world is, right? It could be a Russian company, it could be Saudi Arabian, who knows, right? Whatever. But when you're staring at that video, you're staring at something that's being transmitted 80 miles away in space, moving at 16,000 miles an hour, right? That's insane, right? And you
can't even get a good Wi-Fi connection to do a YouTube
yeah, exactly,
video
right?
blog.
I got this shitty router that doesn't do jack. But, like these guys planned this for years and did the calculations and the math and did the test runs and everything to make all of this stuff happen, right? And they calculated it to within like the centimeter of where everything needs to be to line up, right? And like, go ahead, try and catch a rotating or an orbiting space station from a rocket in a centralized location, right? Like, go try and figure out how to do that. These guys did it, and they're going to make it commercial, which means that I think maybe within the next 30, 40 years, you're going to start to see like people going up to the space station, right?
Yeah, there will be more
depending on what happens. Because it takes a while to build all.
There will be more
space stations. Things got to get approved. Oh hell yeah! There's going to be way more, and there might even be colonies on the moon. But now, right, with the privatization of all this stuff, that is like one step farther to having like Homo sapien living in space, right? Which is the one thing that we can do to preserve the species, because this planet does not have a good track record of keeping species. Right. I mean, like, say what you will about climate change, say what you will about the environmental change and pollution and whatnot. Your opinion is moot because 99.99% of any species that has already existed on this planet is now extinct.
The Earth will take back its own eventually.
Exactly. So I mean, I think this is huge. In that 15 minutes where you're like, what the hell am I doing with my life? Like, you're watching the future happen, dude.
Right?
Like, that's freaking dope.
I think what impresses me the most is how fast technology is changing, and not just from like the first time we landed on the moon until now, but like from the first time that we used any kind of machine to transport us somewhere, right? Like steam trains and automobiles and
You're
buses
saying, like, the invention of the wheel?
Trains.
No. I mean like powered machine. Combustion.
You see, the thing with the Industrial Revolution is...
my point being is that, like, I think it's incredible that it, like, less than 100 years from the first autonomous cars, we were walking on the moon. And then, like, we didn't see a whole lot of development from walking on the moon till now, but people have still been working on it, like, now, for them to have walked on the moon, the lady who calculated all the algorithms that they would need for to predict the trajectory and have everything land, because they didn't have anything digital at that point. It was all hard math.
Yeah, all analog.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady's standing there in a room with stacks of paper like what's behind me, and just like, that's her code. It's like textbooks and textbooks and like fat ass textbooks. Now that she did all that, and it was vetted by other really smart people, like, that got programmed into computers, and so you can run simulations on trajectory, like, on your computer, like that. It's like a game now. So then it frees up our minds to then think of, well, what's next, because we've already achieved this much.
Right. Yeah, so every little inch in sacrifice, every little inch in work and knowledge and research and all that stuff is just will exponentially be, will help kind of advance to the next thing. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're doing that groundwork for people to free up, their minds to be pushing the ball forward. So every little thing is dope. Yeah, and that's why this is exciting, because it's like a payoff. You have all these years, right, where it seems like not much is happening, but behind the scenes it is. And then, we actually see this launch, so it's like it's a visual payoff, and we know that it'll continue to go and grow. It's pretty cool.
Have you seen any videos of SpaceX's boosters landing on the drone ships?
No.
Like those launches
that's
from
a
while
visual
ago?
payoff. Yeah, I mean, like what he's been doing for the past couple years. Because that's what's making all of this possible, is like the reason that we stopped flying astronauts into space is because it's expensive. You're not just going to do it just to do it because you can. Like, you need money for that. But these rocket boosters...
it was for satellite superiority. And it was like an information war that we were getting out there.
Right.
But oh man, I had a thought.
That's something you should look up. You should check out the videos.
AJ, one little caveat.
Coming back down to Earth. Yeah. What is the caveat?
AJ, one caveat about what you were saying about the technology developing. Technology skyrocketed between the time that we landed on the moon to now. I mean, by the time we landed on the moon, like our cell phones in 1969, like it was the same amount of computing power as you see in a cell phone. Now it's everywhere. I mean, like there's like 6 or 7 computers in your car alone. We have computers I have computers here, and there's a computer in your phone, and you can build computers now without ever having any kind of knowledge of code or whatever. Right? You could just buy parts and assemble them, right? And you can build this crazy awesome supercomputer. You know, like technology has gotten super advanced since then, and I think it just hasn't manifested itself in the way that people view the future. I think people like thought they were going to see flying cars and thought they were going to see like utopias and, you know, biodomes and things like that. And what they forgot was that, yeah, with Pauly Shore. And I think what people forget is that, you know, invention's mother is necessity, right? Necessity is the mother of invention. And flying cars aren't a necessary thing, right? I mean, at least right now, right? But
I could use a flying car.
No, I don't think you could.
But you don't need one.
I mean,
yeah, right. You don't.
I don't have one yet. If I had one, I'd need it then, right?
That's not what need means.
Because then my life would change. Because now I've got a fucking flying car, and then it'd be like, okay, now I need one.
Yes, this is what I want to see.
That's exactly the opposite of what need is, though.
Shut the fuck up.
Falcon Heavy.
It looks like a Johnson.
Is that me, or does that look like a...
Look at that rocket. Doesn't look like a huge... Hey, Dick!
Woody? Woody Harrelson?
Cock, that's a big...
Oh my God, what's that in the sky? It looks like a giant wiener. Get your wieners here.
All right, AJ, bring that back one more time.
Roll the tape back.
Yeah. Bring that beat back, DJ.
Okay. So this is like, these are live camera feeds. This is about 8 minutes after launch. No, 4 minutes after launch, it's showing. Where the boosters come back down, they re-enter the atmosphere, and straighten themselves out, and literally just like land standing up. With the last little bit of rocket fuel. Because you can't like recycle that shit.
Right.
So they...
calculated exactly how much they need.
And look,
Jesus,
the boosters come back. They shot these things off.
What?
Dude,
they shot these motherfuckers off like 5-6 times, and they just fill them up every time.
Wait a minute. They literally looks like a video of it just being played in reverse. Like, that's crazy.
Look at that shit.
Yo.
All three
think about that.
Synchronized.
Think about what the original space shuttle, not the original, but like what we knew growing up as kids. Basically a plane that can make it into space, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And now we got a fucking rocket that goes up and fucking comes back in the same trip.
Yeah, and what we grew up with, it's like pretty much not destroyed, but like these are things that
aliens.
Like land.
Yeah, they just drop off
land
in the ocean.
And then like that's it, and then you salvage what you can, and like Lord knows how much that is. Yeah. And then it's like, and then you got to build a whole nother thing. That's crazy.
It doesn't always work out like that. So, sometimes like I saw one where it ran out of fuel literally like inches above the ground. And so it just dropped, and that force of it not like coming down nice and smooth, it dropped from like a couple of feet maybe, and the whole thing just explodes.
Oh,
exploded?
Boy, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Explodes.
You know what's crazy?
Damn.
You know what else is crazy to think? Elon Musk started his journey as like, you know, he created PayPal with some other dude, and like I'm not really like a Musk fan. I think he's a little
a muskrat.
I like Elon Tusk better than Elon.
Elon Tusk is great, but but like so, you know, but I do, you know, you got to recognize great, and he is great. But he started PayPal, and I just like I wonder, like, cause he got super famous now, and he has like a cult following almost, and I just like I wonder, like, you know. Since like I'm not famous at all, I don't know what it feels like to be famous. I don't know, like I don't have any clout. None of us have clout, right? We're cloutless.
Not since the accident.
Not since, yeah, right. I haven't had clout since the accident. And
thank God.
I was like, what do you think it like feels like to be famous? You know, like
oh, it's awesome.
You think?
So cool. Oh,
yeah.
If it's so awesome, like look at Nirvana.
No.
If it's so awesome, this guy, why would he shoot himself if it was so great?
Because he didn't.
Courtney that's a loaded question.
No, Courtney didn't do it. Courtney didn't do it, dude.
Go grab that shotgun and try to shoot yourself in the face with it. Go ahead. See what happens.
Screw you. Why would I do that?
See what happens.
What are you gonna use your toes?
I think there's a distinct difference though between like artists and businessmen who get famous, right? If your goal in life is financial success and you hit it, like you're living large and you're doing exactly what you want, I think a lot of people, like, you know, even Robin Williams and Jim Morrison, like some of these true artists, like they're disturbed people. And what disturbs them, you know, is part of what makes them great and produce this product that we love to enjoy. But like, you wouldn't necessarily have their art without the dark side of who they are either. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Elon Musk has a dark side. I mean, I'm like, sure he's from a shitty upbringing in South Africa. I mean, like his dad was an abusive piece of shit. You know, it's just kind of like the gifts that he was given, and I guess he was fortunate enough is the word, to develop his path to get out of his bad situation.
Yeah.
Right. So like, even though you're a businessman and you have, I think that's even more pressure to uphold a like facade of like upright decency and whatnot, right? Because he's the CEO. Like when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast and he like pseudo smoked weed, he did like a Bill Clinton kind of thing, and yeah, exactly.
There's the Grinch face again.
Elon Musk is the Grinch. Right, but he did that, and because he's the CEO of a publicly traded company, the FCC gets involved, and there's a whole bunch of, it's just a tidal wave of problems that show up, right? And on top of being famous and all the pressure of however many thousands of employees he has and all that stuff, I mean, like I just don't know how. I understand why his kids got such a fucked up name.
Kyle. I think
I pray for that kid, man. High school is going to be rough.
I think there's.
You don't think so? You don't think high school is going to be rough for that kid?
I do. What is it?
It's like Ash. It's Ash Archangel
X12.
Yeah, like
X Ash Archangel 12.
Yeah. What? Imagine a substitute teacher trying to say that. There's this guy in
They'll probably just call him Ash.
Yeah, right. But
he's gonna have a nickname.
I'm gonna go by Ash.
Dude, I watched his podcast with Joe Rogan round 2, where he talks about his kid, and he said his wife came up with the name, or his partner.
Bullshit.
Who's his partner?
His wife's
Grimes?
name is his wife's name is Grimes. How can you not come up with?
Wait, they're still together?
Yeah, they just had the baby, you schmendrick.
Oh my gosh. Wow, I am not putting things together. That's crazy.
We forget that Julian lives under a cool rock.
He lives under that pizza there.
Hey, I'll gladly live under this pizza. Oof.
I think there's different levels and different kinds of fame. So like Elon Musk, right, is like famous like, who's it, Joe Bezos? Is because they're like rich. Jeff Bezos.
Joe Bezos.
I don't know why I thought Joe Bezos. And like Bill Gates and stuff. But like, like if you saw Bill Gates in the street, it'd be like, oh, look, there's Bill Gates. I think there are certain people where you're, depending on what you're into, is more starstruck for you, or people obsess over more, right? Like look at Justin Bieber, right? Okay, people were like literally creaming their pants for Justin Bieber. I don't think people see Elon Musk and they're like, "Oh my God, Elon Musk!"
I think some people. Yeah.
Some people who are interested
but not
in that.
not like believers. You know what I mean? Like,
right, Evan. That's a great point. Like, what do you think it feels like to be someone like Justin Bieber? To walk out of your house and then be like ambushed by paparazzi and screaming young women. What do you think that feels like?
what that feels like, or the total life of like that kind of fame, because that probably feels fucking awesome.
Well, I mean both. Why not? Just answer the whole
his
thing.
life of fame, not fun. You could. I've already kind of seen the way people take advantage of like music industry people, and all the pressure and stupid shit that comes with it, and how quickly it is to be. You can only be like semi-famous, and it's like, you want to do heroin? You want to do all this free drugs? And it's like, okay, I mean, it's free. And then like that, in a couple months, you're down the fucking dark path. So I can only imagine what it's like to be that famous and have everybody throwing shit at you. And what are you going to do? Say no? Fuck it, let's do it.
And everybody wants a piece of you.
Yeah, I think that's
everyone
the
wants
problem.
a slice. So like, I think if I was famous, the hardest part would be interacting with people, even like old friends and family, because like people don't treat you the same anymore.
Right,
they
like have
see
a
you with dollar
genuine relationship. Yeah,
especially at his age, because he was young. Wasn't he like 16 when he started getting famous? Because we're like the same age as Justin Bieber.
Dude, he was like 12 on Ellen DeGeneres. He got YouTube famous. He's been in the spotlight for a long time.
When did Baby come out?
Baby, oh.
No idea.
Looking it up.
I think too, like something that we take for granted as I'm gonna say normal people is our privacy too. Like you can't do, if you're that famous, you can't do boo without like someone taking a picture and being like, look, this guy's eating ice cream on a picnic bench. Like, look at this guy. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's ridiculous. And if anyone recognizes you, to AJ's point, then people just constantly want something from you. And even if you're okay with the innocent stuff, like, can I take a picture with you? Can I take a picture with you? Like, how much patience, would that take from any of us?
Right.
I think I would hate it.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it either. I would, because like, I already keep to myself a lot of the times, and just like having interactions with like, all right, so I know I wouldn't like it because, not that I have any clout, but when I've played shows
We've
before,
established that.
I want everyone to be absolutely sure.
It's clear.
I want
James has no following. He's got no friends. No one to stand up and say, "Hey, this guy knows how to do some shit."
Yeah, I type my name into Google, and Google's like, "Who?" But like, so like, I know I wouldn't like fame.
There's a cat mewing at the door. Can somebody let him in?
I can't stop it. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know how to stop it.
So I don't think I'd like being famous, because whenever you guys suck, all of you suck. I'm trying to make a point here.
This is just rude.
Come
on,
follow up question.
Get your shit together. Wait, no, let me finish my thought and then follow up with a question.
All right.
Damn it. So like, now this is not even gonna be as cool as I thought it was gonna be, but like, cause I've played music, like I played music with Evan and Julian, and after the shows that we play, and after the shows that I play with other people, people come up and try and have a conversation with you, and they're like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'm like, why are you talking to me? Right? Like,
like a true front man.
Because you just fucked my ear pussies, mate.
Right, like after one of our shows, when we did that cover band thing, we get off stage, and like I'm mingling in the crowd, and like a couple of these Brazilian girls were like, the ones, they were like, oh, so you play guitar? Like, it's like, you play guitar? I was like, yeah, I play guitar. I just played guitar for you for like 2 hours.
Nope. Never done that once.
No, I just decided to go.
Not once, not never.
It's a very large ukulele.
But I can't imagine how that would be like going up, being that person, like being like a Jim Morrison or a Jerry Seinfeld or an Adam Sandler or somebody with like elite A-class status, who walks down the street and people come up and be like, "Oh my god!" Like you ever see that short clip of like Jerry Seinfeld's like on the red carpet and Kesha comes up behind him and she wants a hug because she's a big fan, and Jerry has no clue who she is, so he's just like, "No, thank you," and she's like, "Oh, I'm heartbroken." He's like, "No, just have a good night."
I'm all right.
Yeah, like that is me. That's me. That's what I would be like if I was famous.
So
but
here's my follow-up question. And this is posed not to any particular one of you. Any of you can jump in.
You can just say it's for me. That's fine.
No, it's for anyone.
Clout?
It's if you were to get famous. If you were to get that famous, what would it be for?
Oh, dude, that's what do I want it to be for?
No, not what you want it to be for. Because, like, you know, I would love to be a famous musician, but I don't got the skills to pay the bills.
I don't think I have any skills that can make me famous, though. You know, I don't think I'm the best at anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be a famous scientist. I'm not going to be a famous hunter. I'm not going to be a famous musician. You know, I would have to choose something. It'd have to be magic.
All right,
I would definitely be.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I will definitely be famous for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. Like, I've become infamous because I've become the king of that with my girlfriend and just like other people and other conversations. Like, I bet, like, it's why I try to just keep quiet about certain things. It's because I know it. I'm just going to slip up and like say the wrong thing at the wrong time and then just but if I was famous, it would carry this, it would just haunt me forever.
There would just be this video of Julian floating around the interwebs for eternity of him.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good answer.
I can't see that. You're not going to be the guy that says like the N-word on TV or something.
Well, not necessarily
not get famous for anything but that, dude. Like, what are you going to do?
Something like that might get taken out of, but something that might get taken out of context. Like, honestly, that is like a worry I have. And is like, if I'm joking around with my friends, like think about the times where like you're joking around with a friend of yours and you're only joking, like this is a conversation between you and me that I can feel comfortable saying this. I would never say this out in public. Like,
on YouTube?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, but I just know like that there's something, and like it might just be like a deep-seated fear that like someone's going to hear something I said and like take it way out of context. Like that's what I feel like it would be. It would be like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. I can't right now. But it would be something that would seem super insensitive at a time where it's like, just, wow, you really just said that? Like that is the wrong thing to say. You're like, I'm sorry. Let
me just
going in the same vein as Julian.
Yeah.
Like infamy. I think the easiest way for me to become like recognized that way would probably be like public masturbation or something like that.
Wow, you do it that
way. Okay.
Right out there.
Famous?
Okay.
No, infamous. I said because like that shit sticks in your mind. You're like, what the fuck is that guy doing? And if you're on like the A train or whatever,
wait, but
it's like you're all of a sudden. Like, cause I'm not good at anything. I'm not good at anything.
Are you saying you have urges to jerk off on the subway?
Right?
No, not at all. But I'm saying if that was
That's
like
what he's saying.
No, if that was
that's what I hear you saying.
If that was the pathway to fame, right? If that was a pathway for recognition, that would be the shortest path.
Okay, so where have you jerked off in public?
I've never done it. I've never done any of that.
Sure?
I have no aspirations to. Dude, I don't understand how to answer your question. I was just trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
I have so many more questions.
I don't struggle with that.
Do you really think Julian's going to actually go on TV and say something inappropriate? No. He's not going to do that.
So, friggin' what's her face? Bad Baby, the Catch Me Outside bitch that was on Dr. Phil. Like,
right.
Or, she was on Dr. Phil for a reason, right? Because she was a very extravagant type person and was giving her mom a lot of problems. But, like, What about the guy who's like, hide your kids, hide your wife? Like, there's a lot of people that get famous where like anyone can recognize them anywhere they go. Yeah.
You mean like a viral video, kind of like that?
Yeah.
Who knows? Fame. Like
right.
Julian said, getting caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, saying the wrong thing.
Like, to me, it would be like embarrassing for me, like not where I said something like that was truly like wrong or insensitive or like things like that, but something where it's like someone takes it out of context. Because again, if you're famous, you're being followed, like people are watching your every move. Like, I'm gonna like say something or do something stupid where it would just like trip and fall and like, I don't know, like trip and fall on a police officer and like get arrested
while masturbating.
Like, yeah. Oh, well, my hands are down,
right?
Right?
Tripping and falling on a police officer while masturbating in public, that would definitely get you famous.
No, it wouldn't.
Not these days.
No, wait, hold on.
That get you arrested. That you just be, maybe you'd be another example of police brutality.
I mean, I'd beat you up if I wasn't a cop, so. If you fell masturbating on me, I'd probably kill you.
Whoa!
I slipped and fell. I couldn't hurt myself.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, so I got a non sequitur question. You ready?
Flip it.
I'm warming it up right now. All right. If you were in a one-on-one fight with a deer, no weapons, how do you think you would do?
Wait,
is it duck-sized or horse-sized?
If you got into fisticuffs, like a white-tailed deer.
Is the deer ill-tempered?
Oh, very ill-tempered. It's like, all right, I'll
coming at you. It wants to fuck your dead body.
A deer?
Yeah, pretty much.
A deer, a white deer?
No, a male deer.
A deer, a white-tailed deer.
Thank you, Evan.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
How do you think you do? I think I want to hear what you guys do before I share my answer.
You saying fisticuffs?
Fisticuffs, no weapons. It's just you, your body, and the deer's body.
And the deer is actually like fighting, like it's.
Yeah, like you're in. Think of it as like a cage fight scenario.
It's not like a normal deer.
No, not a normal deer, not a normal situation, but like a hypothetical situation where both you and the deer are the only way to resolve this is to actually, participate in combat. How do you think you'd do? Do you think you'd win?
It's a rabid zombie deer that just snorted 5 lines of cocaine. Go.
Yeah, right.
And you're asking how you think we do.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. That's actually the whole question.
And
you're asking me how I think I'd do.
I think I'd struggle a little bit. Probably. That deer.
Listen, I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
I think Evan would do the worst out of the 4 of us.
Definitely. I think, yeah, absolutely.
Really?
I think Evan would get rocked. He would get rocked right away, and then he would try.
A deer. I'll be good.
Yeah, I'll be alright.
I think it'd be really fucking hard because they have strong
are like
backs
the same
and necks.
thing.
No,
first of all,
a white-tailed deer is like 150 pounds.
Oh, well, then I'm fine. I'd fucking destroy the thing.
Are they horse-sized or duck-sized?
I knew that fucking was coming.
I think I would have. If I'm honest, I'd probably struggle a little more than I think. Like at first, I'm just like, I got this. It's a baby deer, like whatever.
It's not a baby. It's an adult.
It's like, wow. Okay, but in my mind, I'm just like, okay, a deer. A deer is like, what's a deer gonna do? But then I'd probably wrestle it and try to like snap its neck or something, because I feel like if I just completely just punch it, I feel like it's just not gonna do, even in its vitals, right? Like in the lungs or whatever. I feel like I might not do enough quickly without it flailing around and all that stuff. So I don't know. I think like getting control of it's going to be a little
to the death.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever seen deer rut though? Their necks are strong as fuck. They run at each other full speed, and
that's what I'm thinking.
Sometimes they kill each other.
It's going to be tough. Like that's it's going to be real tough.
It's not an easy fight.
Yeah, it would be horribly traumatic experience, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah,
I think
like, you're not coming out of it unscathed, but you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
But it's like, do
but
you
once
think
you get hurt, do you like rise to the occasion? It's like, all right, it's on. I need to fuck this thing up. You know, it's me or the beast. Are we allowed to use like tree branches and rocks and shit? Because I don't think I'm killing it with my bare hands.
I specifically said I said no weapons.
Yeah.
I said that pretty explicitly.
Fists.
I don't understand why you guys don't listen to me.
Fisticuffs.
Well, like you can't bring a weapon to the fight, but where are you going to fight a deer where you can't pick something up to beat it over the head with?
In the middle of a
hypothetical situation,
like a parking lot. Yeah,
cage match.
It's a hypothetical situation. Why are you overcomplicating it?
Because I overthink things.
Joe, do you think that you overthink too much?
I overthink about overthinking.
Chronically.
The only time I stop overthinking about overthinking is when I'm overthinking about something else.
You get distracted.
Yeah.
Well, to answer my own question from before, I think.
Oh, he's gonna say he could do it. You think he could do it?
I think I would like to think that I can do it.
Right.
I think I like can come up with like some sort of like battle strategy, but when push comes to shove, I think all that deer really needs to do is just like put a well-placed hoof on my head, and it's game over. You know, so like, going in the strategy, like what I would do is I would try and get him to charge me, and then try and like
by masturbating. I'm over here, bitch.
Maybe, I don't know if that's what they like. Depends on the deer, I guess. But like, I try and get him to charge me, and then maybe like try and dip out of the way, and then get like a chokehold around the neck. And then just try and stay away from the hooves as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then just like kind of hold on to it. Just kind of try and hold on. Like, I probably wouldn't work out, but that's at least what I would try and do.
I just imagine a bloody James like trying to choke hold a deer. Like both of them are on the ground and the deer's like kicking. So they're like spinning in a circle and there's leaves and blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And then James's lifeless body.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I mean, they're not that big, and they're dumb as shit. So, I think you can think it through. I mean, like, there's a dude who like ambushes. Like, he's got a whole YouTube thing where he has like a spear, and he like ambushes deer from the top. Like, there's this ex-Marine guy who like literally jumps out of trees with just a knife, and he lands on the deer's back and he kills the deer that way. I mean, but he's got a knife.
Wow.
I don't know his name.
That's not a knife.
That's a knife.
Yeah, right.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, James's hypothetical questions have been suspended for 10 minutes.
Oh, that was a great point, Julian.
What a
mosquitoes are so
dumb. I'm just waiting for the day that AJ he's doing a podcast or he's doing stand up and I just hear him go, so there were these two hunters going moose hunting, right?
Oh, man.
If it had gotten to me before about the, like, if you ever got famous, how do you think it would be? I think I would be writing the least likable movie of all time.
Least purchased book of all time.
Yeah. It's a book that only has 0-star reviews, but gets viral because everyone's like telling their friends like, yo, you really got to go see this movie.
Right. It's The Room.
It's great. And then it's just like, why the fuck did you do that to me? Who's got some final thoughts on the interesting content we discussed?
We're still talking about what's it? Perennial sunning? Is that what it was?
Perennium sunning, yeah.
Perennium. That's what I figured Evan would be famous for if he got famous.
He'd get premium.
Is the bumhole sunning? Yes.
Perineum cancer.
Now that he's in California, I feel like he's just slowly going to be like, getting into those weird things, those weird Southern California trends. So
I already started jerking off in public, like James. So
there you go.
I'm well on the way.
That's not what I said. That's not what happened.
James, when are you moving?
To where?
To California to
jerk off in public with me.
Oh no, never. Never doing that. There's not enough room for the two of us.
But Julian, this was from 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Come back to me. I'm gonna need an update of like what we talked about. It's been so long.
Dude, you're in the conversation. Already. What do you need an update for?
So long.
I'm sorry, dude. It's just the way my brain works. I'm not witty, and I forget things all the time.
You're very judgmental.
So let me hear what you guys have to say, and then come back.
All right. I'll go.
I'll blow first.
I think SpaceX is cool. I'm not a Elon Musk fan per se, because
why not?
He's a weird dude, and yeah, but I don't know. I that's just my opinion. He just rubs me that way. But I like to see the progress and in technology. I think that's really interesting. I like to see how far we go, and this might lead to something, greater than the sum of its parts, which would be the survival of our species for some amount of time. I think I could totally kick the shit out of a deer. I'm very cocky. I'm borderline arrogant and optimistic, probably dangerously optimistic.
Well, James, it's your lucky night. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we have a surprise. It is Eric, the buck whitetail deer, weighing in at 220 pounds.
It's 150. 150 is a big whitetail. What else did we talk about?
It's the accident.
Yeah, well, since that
one of my final thoughts is that I still think there are fewer similarities than differences. Fewer similarities than differences, or more differences than similarities between Darth Vader and Jesus Christ.
More differences than similarities?
More differences, yeah. I think you could.
Totally.
If you Darth Vader, Anakin.
If you listed them,
you mean Anakin?
I think the virgin birth.
Anakin murdered a bunch of Jedi. Come on, I think
he did.
Yeah, you know what? I will say, Evan, I don't really remember the whole the prophecy part of Anakin's life wasn't as prominent as I remember it being. So probably have to agree with AJ. I don't know. I don't remember.
What?
There's a scene in the first one where Ewan McGregor goes to test the kid's blood or whatever, and he's got this ridiculous amount of the Force in his blood.
It's Liam Neeson, and he has the highest kind of midi-chlorians he's ever seen. Okay? Even that above Master Yoda himself. Look, he's not... Jesus is the wrong word. I would say Messiah. They're coming of their God, of the Force in person, in a person form, and that's pretty much what he was supposed to be.
That sounds pretty Christ-like, yeah.
But not Jesus, because Jesus is Jesus.
Not Jesus.
Jesus got his own little niche.
We ain't stepping on no more toes. All right.
Leave my toes alone.
My other thought was that I want to admit the embarrassingly large number of times that I have observed this one piece of crust above Julian's head.
Yo, it's made me so
You're talking about
right.
You
can't do this again.
Where it's that's it.
Yeah, that's the one.
I just keep thinking all right, that's where you start the cut. You got to cut across the pizza, but then you're gonna ruin that wood table if you're like using the pizza slicer on the table.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about all these crazy fucking thoughts about this pizza.
It's like a picnic table. Like the lines would be stuck in.
I'm like, why can't you just rotate the pie to like slice it with the grain of the wood?
With the grain, yeah.
Oh my god! But you have to start at that one crispy part of the crust.
It's illegal
I've
now to
eyeing
have
it up
food
the whole
as your
time
background because I'm so fucking hungry for pizza now, and I'm not gonna have pizza, and I hate you. Thank you.
All right, Evan, you have the final word of the night. Take us home, baby.
Anakin was definitely intended to be a space Jesus. Sorry, in a totally different galaxy, way far away. He failed miserably, and Jar Jar Binks might be a Sith Lord, and
Pineapples. Great job.
Artichoke pizza. Send me your pizza.
Bye.
Pizza for you and me.
Good night.